Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Fred. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, MP3 player. That's audibletrial.com/Fred. But for now, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Creative Magic Unchained. Yes. Hey guys, do you aspire to a creative life? Are you tired of working 9 to 5? Are you asking yourself, what is the point of it all? Or do you want to take your creativity to the next level? This is your show, The Creative Magic. This podcast is about unleashing your creativity. We talk to experts. We step into the unknown. It is an inspirational podcast. It is a magical podcast. It is an intuitive podcast. We chat with enigmatic, charismatic people from around the world, around the globe, musicians, magicians, singers, radio hosts, business people, photographers, everything in between. I am Fred Bai, and I am your host. I am a businessman. Yes, I am an artist. I'm a writer. I love to write, all right? I'm a friend. I'm a partner. I'm an animal lover, and this podcast is free every time you download it on iTunes or Stitcher. Please go over there. You know, it really helps brother out when you leave a review. And, if you feel that this podcast can really be helpful to somebody else, that it can really be inspiring to somebody else, share it, because it's important. It's important to spread the message that creativity is not this, the starving artist mentality is just not, it's no longer relevant nowadays. Okay, we're in 2016, okay, and soon we'll be in 2017, 2018, it doesn't matter what year we are. The idea of the starving artist is obsolete, in my opinion. And so that's it. So if you want more podcasts, you can go to iTunes or Stitcher, or you can go to frederickbai.com, and there you'll also find free gifts, Q&A articles. And you can find me on Twitter. Add me on Twitter. I will follow you back at ByFred on Facebook. Simply type in my name, Frederick Bai, and check out my YouTube channel, Creative Magic, for previous episodes. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about a very passionate individual, a person who you'll have a lot of ha-ha moments. You'll have a lot of moments where you will go, holy cow, yeah, that's good, that I need to remember. His name is Damon DaRil Naylor. He's a multifaceted New Orleans native who serves as a spiritual life coach, author, motivational speaker, music producer, songwriter, recording artist, and talk show host. He's also a business owner. I didn't put that on the list, but he is a business owner, as you'll find out. DaRil provides mentorship and ministry to individuals' mental, emotional, and spiritual needs. Don't we need all that? We all need that, He utilizes various platforms like music, writing, and speaking to accomplish these objectives. Damon has written one inspirational book called The Great Taste of Success, and he is preparing to publish a second inspirational eBook, A Greater Taste of Success. And his first nonfictional book is to be released soon. You'll get a glimpse of it. You'll get a glimpse of it during this episode. Hey, this episode is really, really fun. We had some technical problems along the way while doing this episode, but hey, we did it anyway. So without further ado, it's time to fire you up. Yes, fire you up to get up and do what you need to do. Start doing what you love right now. So without further ado, let's get to the conversation. Quick thanks to RadioGuestList.com, where you can find people to interview for free. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support. And For advertisement offers, you can reach me at info@fredericbaye.com. That's info@fredericbaye.com and use the subject advertising. Hello. So we are here at the Creative Magic Unchained, and we are here with Damon DaRil Naylor. Did I pronounce it right?
DaRil.
DaRil. Okay, all right. I got a French accent. Anyway, so he's an author, a music producer, a songwriter, a motivational speaker, and a talk show host. How are you today, DaRil?
I am fine. How are you, Frederick?
I am fabulous. All right, man. You're doing it all. You're doing, a bunch of stuff. You love music, don't you?
Yes, I do. I love it. I'm very passionate about it.
Mm-hmm. And right before we dive into your musical career and everything else that you do, you're a motivational speaker and all that. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, my background, I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. And I came up to the place where I'm living now, which is Monroe, Louisiana. It's at the northern part of the state. And I came up here for college, and I obtained a degree in elementary education, a Bachelor of Arts degree. And I taught for 7 years. And at the end of my 7 years of teaching, I decided to launch out and pursue these various endeavors that I'm pursuing now. And we ended up doing the motivational speaking, the music, and also writing books. And we recently started the talk show probably about 3 years ago. And then, we've just been doing those things. And in addition, I also own a janitorial business. So I have a plate full of things that I'm doing, but that's basically my background there. And on a personal front, I'm married with 4 children.
All right, so see, that's interesting because I speak to a lot of creative people, and it's crazy to me how everybody almost has the same kind of story. Wow. What led you to go to get a degree in teaching?
Well, I always wanted to be a positive role model, even as a child and also as a teenager. And I felt as though that would be the best way that I could do that. And I just had so many great teachers in my life, and they imparted so much knowledge and wisdom, and they were such great people that I in turn wanted to do the same thing. And as a result, that's how I felt I would be able to give back to my community and just give back to people, period. It's just something about when someone learns something new and a light bulb finally goes off. As a teacher, just in the inside of me, I get so much fulfillment and satisfaction by observing that and experiencing that. And that would happen even as a young person when I would teach someone something or show someone something. And just to experience that was such a blessing. And that's why I chose to go in that path. And I wanted to have an impact. That's why I chose the elementary education as opposed to the high school, because I felt the children would be more impressionable than the teens.
Okay, so basically you really love teaching, right?
Yes.
Yes. You didn't do it because because a lot of people, they go to college and they become an engineer and then they end up being that's a music producer, and they say, yes, I've always loved music, but I didn't do it because of, my parents told me I should have a degree.
Yes.
So that wasn't your path, obviously. Luckily for you.
I'm telling you.
All right. So what was the mindset growing up, with the adults around you towards creativity?
Well, honestly speaking, the adults that I knew.
Or a creative career. Let's put a creative career.
Honestly speaking, I would say they weren't very open-minded towards it. And I guess initially I didn't even realize that I had all of this creativity in me, which I should have known because I had glimpses throughout my life. It's like God just revealed and gave me glimpses of the things that I'm doing now. For instance, I was in the band in elementary school. I was in the band in high school, junior high and high school. And so I've been around music and playing music basically most of my life. And I love to speak then. I wasn't on the speech and debate team or anything like that. I was more into athletics, but I knew I could speak and I love to speak, but I knew I loved teaching and helping people, just had a service oriented heart. But like I say, most of the people around me, like you said, they would prefer the traditional, get you a college degree, get you a job, and live, provide for your family. But as far as pursuing the creative arts and different things like that, they basically weren't open-minded to that. And so I stick out like a sore thumb, basically.
All right, I get it. Okay, so now you become a teacher. You go through life. You have kids, you have home. You're paying the bills. Blah blah blah. All right, 7 years goes by. 7 years go by. Now you decide, you know what? I'm going to jump into these endeavors, motivational speaking. I want to dive into music. What was the breakthrough? What was it? What made you decide to do that?
Well, actually, I had begun doing those things while I was a teacher. As a matter of fact, I had only taught about 3 years. And at that third year is when I began to pursue the music. And when I first launched I produced a single, a CD with 2 songs, and I just did that as an experiment to test the waters and see what the response would be. And once I saw that I had a favorable response and I really liked it, I continued on and produced my full CD. And then, the rest is history. I continued to do it. And it was at the end of my teaching tenure, about say 02 or 03, that's when things begin to open up as far as speaking. I started getting different speaking engagements. A lot of schools would get me to come in and speak to their children to motivate them. Churches were calling me, and there were different doors that were opening for that opportunity. And I began to like that. And lo and behold, at the end of, should have been 04 or actually 03, going into 04, I just would write down proverbs that I would get, and just profound statements would just come out of nowhere. And I just would write them down. And then all of a sudden, God just began to deal with me about compiling them and creating a book. And that's how the authorship came into play. So basically, in addition to teaching, I was dabbling into these things before I just launched out totally into them. And that's what I would encourage anyone who is a creative type to do. If you have just a regular job, before you just leave it and pursue your creative interest, just kind of dabble in them first to get your feet wet and see the response, and to see if you really like those things before you just release your security with your job and everything.
Wow, that's interesting. They need to know if they really, really love this, right?
Yes.
That's what you're saying, basically.
Yes, because okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say what I've learned. Some people, when they do it as a passion, it's great. But when you have to transition into it becoming a profession, it sucks. And I know many of them who have had to go back to the regular employment arena because they didn't like it as a profession. When you do it as a business, it's no longer just when I want to and how I want to, if I feel like it. No, you have to do it now because it's a profession. Of course, you would want to and hope that you're still passionate about it. But when people have to get into the business aspect of it, sometimes it takes away from the passion and just the fun of it. And so that's why I was saying, you should pursue it in a limited aspect, just to see if you can do it as a profession as well as just your passion. Because once you get out there and it's totally your profession, you have to stick with it basically, or you have to return to the normal business arena.
All right, we're gonna dive into the next thing. All right, so we're here with Damon Naylor. I pronounce it right? Naylor, right?
Yes, sir. That's it. That's it.
All right. He's an author, music producer, songwriter, motivational speaker, and talk show host. He's also a business owner. All right. So I mean, we talked about your background with kid. You're a motivational speaker. Let's say I'm 19 years old, 20 years old. I'm in that period of my life where, okay, I'm pushed. I have to make a career decision. I like music or I like motivational speaking, but I'm afraid. What would you advise that kid? Because he doesn't have a degree. He doesn't have any, you know what I mean? What would you advise him?
I would advise him to really analyze all of his gifts and talents, that he has, he or she has, and see, I know becoming a motivational speaker is good, but at the same time, you need a platform to speak from. And that's one thing that I've learned as a motivational speaker, especially as an experienced motivational speaker. So in essence, what I'm saying, you really want to get some things under your belt before you just become a motivational speaker, because other than that, you really don't have a platform. And with me, I have a very broad platform, especially now. I mean, when I first started, the basic element was just that I was a teacher, which is good. I mean, that's a powerful foundation and platform in and of itself. But now we add the fact that I'm a music producer, I'm a songwriter, and I'm an author, I'm a business owner, I'm a talk show host. That broadens my scope and my platform, and it gives me so much to speak into people's lives concerning. So I would advise the individual to try to possibly pursue a profession that's definitely suitable to the gifts and talents that they have, their passions. Because what I do a lot of times, I give what I call a gift survey. And it's basically very simple. I ask 4 questions. And if they can find at least one thing that can be put into each category, then they'll find what I call the dominant gift. And basically your purpose in life is to use your dominant gift. And I mean, that transitions into your purpose. So the 4 questions is basically this. Okay, what are you good at doing? What are you decent at doing? And that would be regarding skill. Then the second question is, what are you passionate about doing? Or what do you like doing? So that's passion. Some people, they want to pursue what they like to do, but they don't pursue what they're good at. And so we have a lot of that when you look at American Idol and a lot of these shows. The people are passionate, but they lack the skill. And so here you have to make an honest assessment of yourself and say, look, what am I good at? And then, okay, so how do I determine that? The third question would be, what do you do that others receive satisfaction from it? That would go into the category of effectiveness. So in essence, if you're good and you're skilled at doing it and you're passionate about it, and people love it, they receive satisfaction, and they're like, hey, you need to do that. That's you. Then you have tapped into a gift, something that's good, something that you can work with. And last but not least is what can you do? And if you didn't get paid anything, you would still receive great satisfaction from it. And that would be categorized as volunteerism. So in essence, if I didn't get paid anything for speaking, teaching, writing, or whatever, I would still do it because I'm skilled at it. I'm passionate about it. People love it. And I mean, for years, that's what I was doing before I transitioned into making it into a profession. And if you can find the thing, any one thing or definitely several things that go in those categories, then obviously you want a career or create a career that matches those things. And, music, you can always pursue that part-time while you have a job, just on a limited basis. Of course, you would have to be creative because the way the system is designed, you work so many hours, it's hard to be creative and get into things like that. So it will basically involve a sacrifice, especially starting off and if you have another career. But I would say do that on a part-time basis, but kind of establish yourself with another career, because if anyone's really observing the music industry, it's really kind of going down in a manner. Record sales have been declining for years now. And so if you notice, most artists are now leveraging themselves in other arenas. They're becoming musicpreneurs, they call them. Entrepreneurs that are musicians, but getting into other arenas in order to really get more money now because the record sales are going down. And so if you don't have a very strong fan base and you're not touring, then you're not really making just a whole bunch of money off CD sales or digital downloads. So the key thing is there, you need a backup plan. Either way it goes, especially in the past, you needed one, but really now you definitely need a backup plan and you need another stream of income besides just the music.
Do you feel that any creative people, now your specialty is in music, do you feel that artists need to be businessmen automatically?
To a certain degree, yes. You have to, as I was stating earlier, especially when you first start off. You see, one thing I've learned about people because of my experience, it's initially, people are excited, they'll support you, and they'll help, but in a limited capacity. As time begins to go on, and if you had made it big within a year or so, then people will begin to remove themselves in your inner circle, and those supporters will kind of start to dwindle. Now, of course, you'll pick up fans, but I'm talking about people who are there to grind and assist you. If the rewards aren't coming in quick enough, then those people will vacate the premises quickly. And that's why I'm saying, because of that, you have to be able to continue on with your mission despite the people who you may have leaned on in the beginning to help you. And I mean, I look at myself as an example. When I first started off, I had a person who was really wanted to do more of the label aspects of the recording and stuff, marketing, promoting, negotiating, all of that. But he ended up leaving. I had singers, background singers. I had producers who were really contributing. I looked up, most of them had gone. And so now I'm basically doing, almost everything and having to be creative and find other artists and other people to contribute. But it's just so much now that I have to do on my own that I didn't have to do initially. And so that's what I'm saying. In some aspects, you have to become a businessman or businesswoman in order to complete your mission with your creativity.
I think it's interesting when you say support. What's your take on, because it's easy to get immersed so much in our work and want to be successful, and then you forget the people who are important in your life.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? Because I can, you can tell better than me, but if you don't have, in my opinion, if you're not happy in your intimate life, aside from the glory, let's put it that way.
Yes.
There's a huge piece missing. What's your take on that?
Yes, that's very important. Your home life, your personal life, for me, my spiritual life. If those things aren't intact, then regardless of what I'm doing externally and how it looks on the outside, if there's no peace in my home, if I'm not in right standing with God and my spiritual life is not right, my home life, my relationships aren't good and healthy and vibrant, then it will affect your artistry as well. And, sometimes people can put on a front and they can fake it for a while, but eventually it will catch up with you and it will be exposed. And my I guess suggestion and counsel would be to make sure that you personally and your relationships are healthy, that you have balance. But those things are basically your foundational elements. And if those aren't in place, regardless of how much glory you get, how much money you get, eventually you're going to hit the rock bottom. And if those things aren't in place, most people end up in a world of trouble.
All right, just before continuing this conversation, for you, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend the audiobook The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, or you can choose the audiobook of your choice for free. by trying audible.com. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Fred. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Fred. You will be entertained, and at the same time, you will help a brother out. So everybody wins. Go to audibletrial.com/Fred for your free audiobook. You talk a lot about God and Proverbs, and what are you? So you're spiritual.
Yes.
What's your take between creativity and spirituality? Do you think there's a link?
Yes, there is an extraordinary link, because when a person analyzes it, a lot of the creativity comes from the spirit realm, and we're influenced by it. Of course, some people don't believe in it, but that's their choice. But I know from personal experience and my personal experience that much of my creativity is influenced, and it comes directly from the Creator. And it's helpful, it's beneficial, it's uplifting, it directs people. It really is really a blessing to humanity. So I know it just doesn't come from me, and of course I know a lot myself through knowledge and wisdom and studying, but there are just some and many things that come that they just come out of nowhere. So they have to come from somewhere else. And what I realize is that, hey, it comes from the spirit realm, and those things are imparted to us, and they are manifested when we obey those different concepts and ideas, and we add legs and life to them. Then they become, something beautiful, like CDs and books and TV shows and just all of those creative concepts that end up coming into fruition. They come from somewhere. And like I say, I believe they come from the spirit realm. God releases them. But of course, just as there's positivity that can come from the spirit realm, there's negativity as well. There's destructive information. There's corrupting information, and those things, negative information. And people sometimes get those thoughts and ideas from the spirit realm, and they bring them into fruition. And so I really believe there's a strong connection and a direct connection between us and the spirit realm.
What is your creative process? Describe it for us.
Okay. Well, it's really unique, and sometimes it's actually hard to describe, but you were just asking about the spiritual aspect. I'm really a man of prayer. I pray a lot. I spend a lot of time praying, studying. But as far as creativity, sometimes, and most of the time, I actually just allow it to come to me. Sometimes people they'll say, well, I just sit down and I try to think and I try to, create songs and things of that nature. But I actually don't. I can be doing janitorial work and ideas will come. I can be listening to a song and ideas will come. I could listen to a speaker, and from that speaker, a different spin and a different perspective on what he or she is saying will come. And so the creative process for me is just very unique. But the one consistent thing I notice throughout is most of the time is that my mind is clear, my mind is open, and I'm just I guess in a zone, in a different level, and so in my mind, in my mental state, because it's hard to be creative and even process anything if you're troubled, if you're facing adverse situations and different trials and tribulations. But if you're able to elevate your mind above those things, you basically stay in the creative process. And so that's how I try to keep my mind open, keep my heart open. And I'm always searching and actually readily available for receiving ideas and just inspiration. And so, like I said, I can't pinpoint it to just one deal or one type of process. It's very unique. That's the only way I can put it. But the key is just having my mind open and my heart ready at any time for creativity to begin.
See, this is why I like to ask that question, because it's so it's so difficult for everybody, authors, everybody to describe that. It's almost impossible.
It is. It differs from artists to, you know, from each artist, each musician, each songwriter, each, person who designs and creates stuff. It differs for everyone.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like trying to describe, God in a way, or trying to describe, I don't know. There's no words for it.
That's it.
All right. So let's say I'm 30 years old. Got kids. I got a home. Got to pay the bills. I really want to pursue my creative, but I'm afraid. And to me, it seems that there are three main fears: lack of money, failure, and rejection. Let's start with the first one: lack of money. What would you advise to people? They want to, they want to pursue creative endeavor, but hey, I'm afraid I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life.
Okay. Well, definitely you want to pursue it at a minimum to start off. You want to use, I guess, the least amount of your money that you can. Take advantage of everything free that involves whatever creative arena you operate in. And, definitely do that first. Take advantage of everything free. Look, everything you can that's free and you can get at either it's free or at a very cheap price. Take advantage of all of that first.
So when you say free, you mean like, okay, set up a Facebook account, Twitter account, blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that, set up a website, but all that stuff.
Yes, that. And then, there's so much out there on the internet where, some services are free. Some of the material and the resources you need are free. As a matter of fact, I know with me, recently I had invested in a keyboard, but I had downloaded a free music program and I produced most of my tracks that are on my CD that I'm about to release. So that's what I'm saying. It's things like that. There are kind of templates and just all forms of resources right on the internet that are free. So you get all of that you can get that's free or at a low cost. Get that. And then eventually it's going to take just a leap of faith and you're going to have to sacrifice with money somewhere down the road. Now, of course, I'm not saying place all of your savings, all of your living into it. Of course not. But along the way, there's going to be a place where it's going to take a sacrifice. You're going to have to give more money and you have to be creative to try to free that money up, whether it's get a loan, whether it's borrow either from a loan company or family and friends or whatever, or try to find investors or something like that. Eventually it's going to cost some money, and so, I say, like I said, first, just try to get the, things that cost a very low amount or even free at first, just to get you started. And as people see what you're doing, they'll come on board and kind of chip in here and there to assist you, and preferably you might get someone to say, hey, I'll come and foot the whole bill. But if not, just invest as much as you can, at least to get you started, and take advantage of all free resources.
It makes me think of a podcast I was listening recently. I love the Rich Dad Radio podcast, and the person there, it's all about entrepreneurship, and they say there's two things when you're an entrepreneur, which I think when you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur, Yes. They said there's two things you need to invest: time and money. And if you don't have the money, you need to invest the time. And that's what you seem to be saying. At first, take all the free stuff, but it takes time. Yes.
It does. It does.
All right. What about, we're going to reach the 10-minute mark here soon. Okay. Okay. So what about the second one is, failure. I'm afraid to fail. I don't want to fail. I want to, a lot of people, it paralyzes them, because when you fail, it's humbling. It hurts. It's, you look bad. You're not cool to your friends anymore.
Yes.
What advice would you give?
We must pick up humility, because before honor comes humility. We have to be, if we want to go high, then we must first go low. And so we have to eliminate the fear of failure. You cannot become a success without failing. Now, there's a difference between failure or being a failure and failing. Failing is a part of the success process, but failure is actually when you just keep failing and you give up. Most people actually fail their way to success. So you can't be afraid to fail because that is a part of the process. That's an integral part, of the process. So failure is an imperative aspect and element. It's inevitable failing, but you don't have to be a failure and just give up and throw in a towel. If you look at it, if I'm not mistaken, it took Thomas Edison 9,999 tries before he was able to invent the light bulb or whatever invention it was. So on that 10,000th try, he got it. That shows, of course, everyone was laughing at him. Everyone was ridiculing him. Everyone was saying, Tom, you must be crazy. You need to stop that. But there was something inside of him that kept motivating him, and he knew he was onto something, and he continued until he was successful. And that's my advice to everyone. Things are going to happen. Things are going to go awry. Unexpected emergencies and situations are going to come up and sometimes cause delays, cause denial, but you have to keep on. If you can eliminate the fear of failure, then you basically can do anything and you can try anything, because my perspective is that there's really no such thing as failure. Just the fact that I had the guts to try it, that to me, that's everything. Just to set the goal, take the steps and complete it, I succeeded to me, because I realized that you cannot control results regardless of how great or how good you do something. You can't say, okay, 1 million people are going to buy my product. You can't say for me, I can't say I'll be speaking across the world and everything, because I'm not responsible for all of the results. I'm responsible for just doing what I'm supposed to do. And basically the results are up to people. It's up to God. It's in, the hands of the elements. But as long as you do your part, don't worry about the results. Just be satisfied with the process. Be satisfied with the fact that I'm going to attempt this and I'm going to accomplish my goal, because what happens once you do that part, you feel good about yourself. You have something under your belt. You're beginning to create a track record for success, just accomplishing a goal. So like I said, try not to focus on the results. That will eliminate the fear of failing right there. Not just being consumed and totally preoccupied with the results.
Once again, this is Frederick Bai, and we are here with Damon Naylor. He's an author, music producer, songwriter, motivational speaker, and a talk show host and a business owner. Wow, that's very inspiring. All right, last one, rejection. It's like dating, right? It sucks to be rejected, and even more to be met with indifference. When you have a project you want to do and you're met with indifference, it sucks. Even more so than a no, oftentimes. So how would you deal with that? How do you deal with that? And what advice would you give?
Just know, and when you do what you do it from your heart. Make sure it's of excellent quality. Make sure you have put your best foot forward, and don't worry about the indifference. I'm a firm believer that every creative type has at least one hit song, has at least one great product. And the key is finding your supporters, not trying to convert your haters and critics, because everybody, I don't care who you are.
That's very good. Repeat that.
The key is to find your supporters and, those who your fans, and not try to convert your critics and haters, because too many people, that's where they expend all of their energy, because sometimes some haters just hate you. So regardless of what you do, they're going to hate the product. They're going to hate the finished deal, whatever it is you're doing. So don't worry about them. But there's somebody out there who is going to love and receive and be blessed by what you do. And that's who you want to focus your attention and your time in trying to find out who those people are, find out who your market is, because I believe all of us have at least 1 million fans. The key is just finding them. As you look at a lot of the music and a lot of inventions and products, it's not relevant to you, but obviously it's relevant to somebody because people are buying it. And so the advantage, like huge artists who are megastars and all that, the only advantage they have over us is that they have the marketing and promotional budget to do it. They have the exposure. That's it. If you could get the same exposure, you would get the same responses.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's just about the platform. Basically, they have a bigger platform and that's it. I don't believe, and I totally agree with you, I don't believe anyone is a genius. Like, especially when we see somebody on television and we think, oh, he's so great. But the truth of the matter is, it's just, it's the camera angle. It's just the old, the fluffy stuff around it that makes them, perceived as great.
Great. That's it.
All right. So let's dive into a little bit what you're doing now. So what's your main endeavor right now? It's music?
Actually, right now it's two.
You're going to release a book. That's true. You're going to release a book.
And the CD, the upcoming project. And actually it's a book, an eBook, and a CD that I'm basically releasing all together. And, those are the three things that we're really concentrating on. And, I guess to me, the most important one right now is that book, because with the book, I'll be doing workshops and seminars. And, the ebook is going to kind of be like a bonus for people who buy the book, especially from my website, but they could also buy the book directly. But, like I said, that particular book, the nonfictional book that I'm about to publish, I think that's the main thing I'm focusing on right now.
What is the book about?
Well, the book is actually about the book of Revelation in the Bible, and I expound on 14 major concepts that are found in the book of Revelation. And so, we'll be teaching that in different places and hosting workshops and seminars so people can get a firm grasp on that book. A lot of people are curious about it, have questions, and there are a lot of people who are presenting material, but it's erroneous, it's not correct, it's very inaccurate. And so we have something that's very accurate. The scriptures are lined upon line so people can understand and get a firm grasp of that book. But that's what the nonfictional book is going to be about.
Oftentimes, as creatives, we have a message behind our work. And oftentimes, people, just painters, writers, musicians, they want to say something to the world, through their work. What is your message?
My message is basically that all of us are created with a skill and a mission to fulfill. And what I'm trying to do is help people to find purpose in their mission, and most importantly, I guess from my faith base, I'm trying to get people to heaven. But the basis, that is basically my message, right? That those two things, getting people on the right path and helping them to find their skill and their mission to fulfill in this life. And my music, my writing, my speaking, my entertaining, all basically echo that sentiment.
What is the number one habit that fuels your creative life?
Number one habit. I would say, like I told you earlier, prayer. That is it. That does it for me.
Do you pray regularly?
Yes, regularly, daily. I pray daily. Yes, sir.
Do you have a favorite motivational phrase or motivational quote? Well, yeah.
Yes, I use the scripture. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That's my favorite scripture.
All right. Do you have mentors? Somebody that you admire, either close to you or on television, or, would you have a distant mentor or close mentor?
Well, right now, I actually don't. I've had some mentors in the past, but it's kind of like I'm in a very unique season in my life where it's like I'm basically the navigator, and it's like God is just directing my steps in a very new and unconventional path. And so it's like it's like I can't really even pattern myself after anybody right now. And I don't have a mentor who's really doing all of the things that I'm doing. So it's like I'm basically having to be a trendsetter and a navigator and a trailblazer to create just a totally new path. So right now I would say, no, look, besides the Holy Spirit, no, I don't have a physical mentor right now.
You're doing a lot of things. You have, what is your talk show about?
My talk show is entitled Motivating the Masses, and on it, what I do is provide the direction, inspiration, and education for people, about our daily lives. And I deal with just different concepts that help people in their daily living to be successful. And I also bring on different guests that I interview so that they can see real life successful people, learn about the mistakes and the successes of just typical people. And so I have, like I said, different guests. I have teachers, I have performers, I have ministers, I have professional people, just you name it. And it's just to give people direction, inspiration, and education about daily life.
We're approaching, it's 10 minutes, so I don't know if it's going to go out on me, but you got another 10 minutes? You're good?
Yes, sir. I do.
All right, cool. How do you remain calm in uncertainty? You're doing all this stuff. It's an uncertain path, and as you said, you're trailing. You're creating your legacy, or how do you remain calm in uncertainty? Some people can't deal with the fact that they don't know what's going to happen next.
But just having faith and trusting and knowing that I'm fulfilling a purpose that was granted and given unto me by God. And how can you fail with when you have trust in such, knowing that it's bigger than me and that it's not just my doing? If it were just me, then I could fear. But if the creator who created me and purposed me to do this is on my side and ordering my steps, then how can I fail? How could I not succeed? That's how I look at it.
We're going to wrap this up in a short time, but I just want to point out, I just had this thought. A friend of mine, she says she's now, I think she's 40. Okay. And she used to say, she loves to dance. And she said to me, I actually interviewed her, and she said, when I was like 19, 20, she started dancing, but she thought it was about fame and money and being popular and all of that stuff. So she quit it, and she became she's a social worker. Okay. Now she's getting back into it because now it's, I think it's beginning to kind of eat at her.
Yes.
What would you tell somebody like that? Because it's true. How do you make the difference between, I want to do this because I'm really passionate about it, and I want to do this because I want to be rich and famous? Within yourself, how do you make that distinction? I think it's on many people's minds.
Well, you have to do it first and foremost out of the passion and fulfillment, because no one is promised the fame and fortune. There are millions of people who are making a decent living or just living, doing what they love, but they don't have all the fame and fortune and accolades that go with it. So I would say first and foremost, you need to be passionate about it, because it's not promised that it's just going to be so huge and extravagant. Of course, we all have those dreams and those visions of that, but it takes a lot of work and it takes some luck for all of the fame and fortune to come. So if, you don't want to hang all hang everything on those two concepts, the fame and fortune, but hang it on your fulfillment and that you love it. And just the fact that you say your friend is eating at her, that's one of the things that lets you know, or it helps you to gauge that you're created to do this thing, because you cannot, just live your life without trying this. It'll keep you up. It'll irritate you. And that's how you need to try this in some capacity, and don't worry about the fame or fortune, because if that's your focus, then you won't do it. You won't do it. You'll always be fearful, because that's going to always come. Oh, what if I don't get famous? What if I don't make a lot of money? And then, especially if you see people doing it and failing or not being successful as you think they should, then that will affect you. But never let that be the main focus. Let the main focus be that you're passionate, you're skilled, and you just want to do this so you could be fulfilled on the inside. And as I stated earlier, let the results take care of themselves, because you cannot control that. You cannot control that.
I love that. All right. If you were stuck on an island, no one else, $500 in your pocket, a laptop, and an internet connection, what would you do the next 7 days?
The next 7 days, I would just reach out to everyone I know and communicate with them, let them know, hey, what's going on, and actually just inspire them to do what they're doing, especially if this is it. I would just still tell her, hey, I love you guys. I'm glad I was here with you. I hope you receive something from my life. Look, if someone can come rescue me. But if not, I'm going to just enjoy these last few days. I mean, I'm not sure how relevant the money would be if I'm on the island by myself. But I would just reach out to everyone to tell them I love them, and I hope they fulfill their dreams, fulfill their purpose, get things in order for their lives to be prepared for eternity. And hey, I enjoyed my life. Just know I'm going to a better place.
in terms of your craft, though, in terms of your business, what would you do? Well, how,
In terms of I would each day just put out some inspirational information, put out some content, put out, I guess, remarket and re-promote my past content, so that could stay on people's mind. They can remember me by that, and they can still be influenced by those things that I've done.
All right. That's great. All right. Where can we find you, and where can you find your books and your works?
At DaRil.org, DARIL.org. That's my most comprehensive site. If you go there, it just has all of my information. It has the eBooks right now, because the actual physical copy of my book about Revelation, that won't be out until April or May. But I have my eBooks there. I have my CD there, my past CD, and I hadn't released the current CD yet, but that will be available on all of your digital download sites. And my former CD, Conception and Rebirth, it's all over the internet, the World Wide Web. And it's on basically all of your major digital download sites. So just type in Damon, the Real Nailer, and that'll, all of the websites and information will pop up. But my most comprehensive website is DaRil, DARIL.org.
All right, guys. Hey, I want to thank Damon. I really, really want to thank Damon for his insight, for his motive. I feel motivated, man. I spoke to him, and after that, I was like, let's go, man. Boo. I don't know. I just good. So thank you, Damon. Really, really appreciate your time here on the Creative Magic Unchained show, and God bless you. And as for me, it's time to ride off into the sunset. Ooh, yeah, time to start right off into the sunset. So hey, I just want to thank again Audible are really being amazing. They are offering you, the listeners of the Creative Magic Unchained, this exclusive free trial. Go to audibletrial.com/Fred. audibletrial.com/Fred. Over 180,000 books. That's really cool. It's really, really cool. You have so much stuff, and so explore it. Just explore it, and you know what? Talk to me about it. Send me an email. All right, guys. And by the way, if you want to send me an email, just go to info@frederickby.com. That's info@frederickby.com. And for advertisement offers, just put in the subject advertising in it. Catch me on Facebook, Frederick By, on Twitter @ByFred, my YouTube channel, Creative Magic, for previous episodes. And with this, stay safe and don't forget, live with purpose, passion. Passion is important. And love. Bye-bye.